So the first beer that we want to talk about is the Golden Handshake Pilsner.
Sure, yeah.
Let's talk a
It's
little bit.
amazingly, by the way, well done to all the work you guys have done getting these into nice little homebrew formats. Yeah, snazzy. I might have to use them for brewing here, actually. They're way better than my notes.
Michael,
might be different.
Michael, our head brewer, has been working hard on those, trying to make sure that anyone grabbing the recipe kits has good instructions.
No, they're great. He's done a really good job.
Let's talk about your inspiration when planning the beer, Kelly. What were you trying to achieve?
I'm probably Pilsner. I mean, particularly German style Pilsner is my favorite. It's probably style to drink, you know, in terms of the whole realm of the beer world. I had a couple of German style Pilsners in particular that I've got a massive love for. First and foremost is Birrificio Italiano's Tipo Pils. They're a northern Italian brewery, one of the sort of OG kind of craft breweries. Them and Balladim were kind of the two sort of first ones back in the mid 90s in Italy. So that's just a beer to me that just sort of screams, you know, it's a massive showcase of effectively hand-selected batches of German hops from the Hallertau region. But really the one that I wanted to emulate with this beer was Firestone Walker's from Paso Robles in California. Their Pivo Hoppy Pills. So that's a beer whenever I've been over doing World Beer Cup judgings and craft brewers conferences and things like that. It's a beer that most of the judges seek out, actually, and especially probably the Australasian judges. Everyone generally loves it. And I think that was traditionally, Spalter Select and Sapphire, I think are the hops in that. I managed to, Matt Brynildson, their head brewer, there's a little bit of information sort of around about it, but I think from what I'd managed to sort of glean from the internet, it's generally finishes quite dry. And I like that sort of, you know, I bring it a little bit higher, but more to do with how my kit sort of deals with malts and what it does to the sort of the back end of the malt at the end of ferment. So I think from what I read, they're usually finishing around 1006 with that beer. So it's really, really dry finish. And I'll usually go for 1008, 1009 with this beer. Little dry hop, so not really what you do traditionally for a German style Pilsner. Not super bitter, but enough just to balance, you know. I've played around with lots of different base malts in this beer. I got the best ever I have got with it was using a malt from Germany. It's called the Erikleia Pilsner malt. It's actually a malt that's grown on the coast of northern Italy, but it's malted by Weimar, and I found that was amazing. But I've since we've been doing the contract brewing for the bottle stuff out of Boneface, started using Malt Europe's Pilsner malt, which is also really good. But I found most base malts are really good. The hops work with Gladfield Pilsner malt. I've played around with the Gladfield German Pilsner malt. Everything I've kind of used tends to work well with those hops. And it's quite a forward, interesting hop combination. Sapphire in particular, I actually sometimes refer to as mini Sriracha. It's got a real kind of lemon and sort of almost coconutty kind of sort of richness to it. I guess you could call it mini Sabro in a way these days as well, because that seems to be the hop that people 100% think about when they think about coconut now. Sriracha is kind of like forgotten. But yeah, to me, it's about cleanness. It's about showcasing those different hop varieties, those German hop varieties, but also utilize them in a way that showcases their aroma and not just their nice clean bitterness. But yeah, that's kind of it. And it used to be called Slip Pills. That was its original title, and I'm a big fan of stupid wordplay. So obviously, Slip Pills is a palindrome. If you read it backwards or forwards, it's the same. We put the original artwork was a nice big Californian bear with a date on it, which was the year that California became a state, and that was a bit of an homage to Firestone Walker and the inspiration that I sort of got for that beer. And that
Bugger.
Come back, Kelly. We definitely need that fiber connection into Fort Brew Court.
I agree.
So interesting talking there about the mashup between the German pills and the Tipo pills.
Well, essentially, that's kind of been a newish craft style you've been seeing popping up all over the place. The Italian Pilsner, which is exactly what Kelly says, the dry hopped German Pils. Oh, I think we just heard something from Kelly.
A little squeak.
Yeah. So yeah, we've done a Italian Pils at the League Brewery over summer, which I thought turned out really interesting as well. So it's definitely something nice if you don't want to make an IPA and you don't want to make a New Zealand Pilsner, but you want a thirst quencher. Italian Pils is an interesting style to explore.
So yeah, you're getting the dry hop in there, but more typically using noble hops rather than New World.
Pretty much, and I think Kelly with Sapphire went a little bit more fruity.
I'm trying to.
2 Kellys.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, we can hear you.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of my computer one and just use the phone one. I think that's going to give us better connection. Is that cool?
That was cool. We had your picture. It's now just got your face. I don't know if you muted your picture. Try again.
Try again. Why is this not working? Technology, eh?
Yeah.
Every time. Right. Okay. Let's try this. Okay.
Oh, now you've got both running.
Yeah, that's it.
This should. How's that? Yay! That's better.
So I think you've given us a good overview there, Kelly, of the inspiration and why you've chosen the ingredients that you've got there in the recipe. Have you got any tips for people when they're brewing, things that they perhaps want to really watch out for to get the best results when they're making the beer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's really about getting a good boil. Because it's such a pale malt base, you want to be having, between 70, I'd like doing 75 to 90-minute boils for that beer, but it'll all depend on your system. If you know your homebrew system, just do what you usually do. I'm super keen on getting really good protein coagulation and getting a nice bright beer as well. And the key really, as well as dry hop, don't leave it on the dry hops too long. Because it finishes relatively dry, you don't want any added astringency to come from those hops. If you're wanting to be really fussy, you could probably even skim at high Krausen. This is something that some really good Pilsner brewers around the world will do, is really try and remove as much of that protein and polyphenol as they can. And right at high Krausen, particularly if you've got an open fermenter, you'll see all those nice peaks. And there's usually a little bit of dark material on the top of those peaks. If you can aseptically skim that off with a slotted spoon or something, you're going to get a nice, super clean beer. And to me, a really good German Pilsner is about that being clean and crisp.
So the Fort Brew Court fermenters, then are they set up to allow that? Or
No, unfortunately not. Nah, it's something when I did my trials on the pilot kit, and whenever I do any trials on my pilot kit, I always do that. Generally, I'm lucky. These cylinder conicals and the way the yeast falls in them, I'm getting pretty clean beers. But if I was set up to with open fermenters, 100%, I'd love to do everything in open fermenters. That's what I did for a number of years brewing in the UK. And it was all skimming yeast at high Krausen and at near end of ferment for repitching, and all done by hand. And when I was at a brewery called Fine Hours up in Scotland and a brewery called Thornbridge in England, we spent a lot of time doing that. Really good for your arm muscles as well, actually. Holding your breath and trying to skim over large open fermenters with giant heavy metal sort of like dishes. But yeah, if you can do it, do it. That's sort of definitely a tip that I'd give, because if I could do it here, I definitely would probably get a few more gold medals, maybe.
How's your fermenter set up anyway? Do you ferment under pressure, Kelly, or are you fermenting not without pressure, not under pressure?
Yeah, and I'm not using pressure, mainly because of the quality of the brewing equipment. That's at Falcon Brewer. I'm more than happy running these at around a bar. That'd be fine. But because they're all the pressure relief valves on them are automated, and there is some issues with the wiring around the automation of those in terms of them releasing. We're an open brewery, and I really want to reduce any potential chance of risk. Not that there is any, But that's, yeah, but again, it would be something, if I had the technology and the high quality equipment to enable that, yeah, I'd be doing under pressure fermentation if I could. Yeah, probably between half a bar and a bar, probably depending on the fermentation temperature. If I'm running it cooler, I'd be more than happy to do that. Yeah, same with my Hefeweizen, and I'd love to be able to do pressure ferments with my Hef that I do here, which is something that's pretty sort of common in European or German brewing tradition. So, but yeah, one day maybe.
Well, I think we as homebrewer have now way more options to ferment under pressure these days without having too expensive stainless around. So yeah. I can totally recommend to play around with that as a homebrewer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you've got the sort of facility to do that, do it. You know, I mean, this is where you can experiment and do, you know, one batch at atmospheric or one batch under pressure and taste them side by side and see you know, what that does particularly to the yeast and their metabolic performance and what sort of like characteristics you're getting from the yeast. So yeah, definitely a good sort of style to do it, and particularly Pilsner, because it's all about nice clean yeast character as well. So
and a slight sulfur note, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I really love that. I'm a big fan of sulfur in beer, and it's something I think growing up, not growing up, doing sort of a lot of my brewing around Yorkshire. Actually, there was a brewery that a lot of the locals that we had in a pub that we used to run in Live Above when I was at Thornbridge, they would actually want that sulfur in the beer, because one of the traditional beers that was brewed in Sheffield called Wards, the yeast must have punched out a lot of sulfur, and they must have been Burtonizing the water a lot, and they kind of anticipated that big sulfury whiff, you know, that Burton snatch as they call it. So I think sulfur plus sulfur and lager and Pilsner to me is awesome. You know, just a little, I want that hint of sort of brimstone, you know, it's a good thing.